Let's see if you can guess the title of a movie by this one-line summary. A high schooler learns how to protect himself against bullies by doing certain types of chores in a particular way. The Karate Kid? That's right. He doesn't know at the time what all this is for. In fact, he gets quite frustrated. What does paint the fence and sand the floor and wax on, wax off have to do with karate? He's not able to connect the dots, but the teacher is wiser than him and helps him to persevere until it finally clicks, and he sees that all that training was building the strength and the muscle memory for the essential moves to win the victory. And in fact, he does become the champion. Something like that is also supposed to happen in our homes with our families. Our family life is supposed to be our training ground for holiness. How we learn to conquer enemy spirits and become champions of faith, winning victory after victory through the grace of our Lord Jesus Christ. A training ground where simple, humble, mundane, maybe even boring or tiresome things are exactly what we need to be doing, but in a particular way to build up our spiritual strength. These things are to be done with great love and for the glory of God. It could be laundry, it could be dishes, it could be helping your kids with their homework, it could be being patient with each other when you're very stressed out. This is our training ground. This is exactly what we need. And we don't always see it at the time. We don't always connect the dots. What does this chore have anything to do with me becoming a saint? And the scriptures tell us everything. Everything. If you do it right. This is our challenge today. Saint Fulgentius of Rusp is speaking about the saints during Christmas time when he offers this reflection. God arms his soldiers with the strongest and most effective weapon, his own love. God arms his soldiers with his love, and that is our best weapon against the enemy spirits in our lives trying to hurt us. Because the battle is for hearts. The heart is the battleground, and the family is the training ground, so that the battle for our hearts can be won by God, by his grace, by his mercy. So what does Simeon in the temple tell Mary today? That she will be pierced by a sword, so that the thoughts of many hearts may be revealed. This is critical to the battle we're speaking of. So Mary goes through suffering at the foot of the cross of her Son, so that the battle for our hearts can be won by him, so that the thoughts of many hearts can be revealed. This means you and I are going to suffer, but we shouldn't run away from suffering. We are going to go through trials, but we should not be afraid, because what's going to happen is when we confront our limitations, when we have to come face to face with our weakness, our brokenness, our faults, and our failings, then something is going to happen in our hearts, and it needs to happen. These things need to come to the surface. They need to be exposed to the light of Christ. And it's going to be something like this. Oh, I guess I'm not as patient as I thought I was. I guess I'm not as good a person as I thought I was. I guess I'm not as loving to my spouse as I thought I was. I guess I'm not as good a parent as I thought I was. The thoughts of our hearts need to be revealed. That we can't do it on our own. We're not good enough on our own. We need God to help us. We can't fix everything. We can't solve everything. We can't do it all ourselves. And our heart has to wrestle with that reality so that it can be a humble heart that is open to God. So the trial comes, reveals the thoughts of our hearts, and if we're wise, we will turn to the Lord and talk to him about what has been revealed and let him come in and help us. So the result is faith, a bigger faith in God on the other side of the trial. But if we do the opposite, if we close in on ourselves and don't turn to God, if we give in to our selfishness, our arrogance, our own need to control everything and think we're better than others, if we close in like that, our faith diminishes and we won't be strong enough to defeat enemy spirits. It's only by turning to God. So there's this humility, there's this gratitude, there's this love, and it makes our faith bigger. That's what's supposed to happen. And guess what kids need more than anything else? They need parents who have big faith. They need your faith. They need your faith to grow. Because if your faith doesn't grow, then they won't be strong enough in the faith when trials come to visit them. So here's Abraham. Abraham wonders, am I going to have a child? And that grows his faith. And then, once a son is granted to him, Isaac, then he goes through the test of, but God is asking me to sacrifice my son. What am I supposed to do with that? His faith grows bigger because Isaac, the son, needs a dad with a big faith. So God puts Abraham to the test to grow his faith. That gets handed on to Isaac because he's going to need to have big faith because his son, Jacob, is going to be renamed Israel, the father of 12 sons, who we become the 12 tribes of Israel in God's covenant with his people, leading to the church, which will be Jesus surrounded by the 12 apostles, the vehicle by which Jesus is going to lead us to heaven. This is how much faith matters. The faith of our fathers needs to be big enough so that we can be strong enough to withstand the trials. Our young people need us to grow our faith, and that can only happen when we turn to God in our time of need. Mary and Joseph undoubtedly have a really big faith. And what is the result? It tells us, the child, referring to Jesus, grew and became strong, filled with wisdom, and the favor of God was upon him. That's what happens when there is faith in the home. We need faith in our homes so that this can happen for our children, that they grow and become strong, filled with wisdom, with the favor of God upon them. If you want that for your children, you will need a bigger faith. And that's going to come through trials as we turn to the Lord. So, the trials reveal the thoughts of our hearts. And if we turn to the Lord and talk to him about what's going on, it can grow our faith. And if we are willing to accept this as our fundamental disposition and perspective in how we carry ourselves in this life, then the next time we're going through our chores, those routine, simple, ordinary, sometimes mundane, boring, and tiresome things in our life, we will remember, aha, this is exactly what I need to be doing with great love and for the glory of God, so that he can train me and turn me into a saint.